Hey everyone, my name's Gunther, and welcome back to Sakura Zoo. Actually, a very special episode of Sakura Zoo because we're not building anything. Instead, I figured it would be a perfect time for us to kind of go and take a look at everything that we've already built. And I'm not alone. I'm joined by somebody who I look up to quite often because they've helped so much in creating a lot of my zoos and a lot of my habitats. And he's always quick to provide some feedback and a positive word. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to him to let him introduce himself.
Hi, thank you so much. Wow, such praise. My name's Blob, and I criticise Gunther's work quite strongly. No, I'm just joking. No, it's all good. Yeah, I'm Blob. Hi.
Awesome. You know what? I would use the word criticize in a good way. It's like constructive criticism, because there's always ways to improve. And I gotta say, a lot of this zoo is thanks to you and your feedback and helping to build. I still remember very fondly the day that we were just kind of chatting about our Chinese pangolins, and you just like helped me build something completely different. Plus, I will say, you helped me to get into the world of modding, and Sakura Zoo is definitely a mod zoo in the sense that we're using like free build and stuff like that too.
It's a dangerous slope modding. I tell you, even now, like I'll open up Nexus mods every other day and just find something really cool, and then the gears start turning on how I can incorporate that.
It is a very dangerous slope, but let's dive right into our front entrance, our west entrance, which actually it's not our west entrance, because if we were to look at the map, it's the south entrance. So eventually that'll be renamed to the correct direction. But this is our plaza. We're missing a parking lot. You can kind of see just an empty field of grass, but this is the front entrance. So there'll be multiple entrances eventually within Sakura Zoo, but this will be the main entrance. And it was actually inspired by Ueno Zoo, which a lot of Sakura Zoo is inspired by Ueno Zoo. So for anybody who has been to Ueno Zoo, hopefully you kind of see that inspiration, which I think is kind of like right here. It's this building is heavily inspired by that.
I love this. It's not too, like, whenever I do an entrance or whenever I think about doing an entrance, I never want it to be too grand or anything like that. I think this hits that nice medium between being like small and subtle, but it sort of is grand in its own right.
That's you know what, I think it's something I've always struggled when it comes to like making entrances is something like, I don't want something small, but I don't want something crazy large, and going with something like that is kind of like a nice happy medium. Lots of empty rooms as well, because we have our two huts that we kind of just like meandered by, which is it's full of ATMs, but they're kind of standing in for like self check-in, so you can kind of go purchase your tickets before you come in, as opposed to going up to like the info centers. We also have a place eventually for a gift shop, so this will be turning into a gift shop at some point when I get around to it. But I think this is like the perfect place for a gift shop at the front of the zoo. It's kind of tucked away, but it's still easily accessible.
I mean, you could always, I don't know, I've always felt like you have a gift shop by the entrance, but I'm pretty sure that you could maybe work in a gift shop in the middle of the zoo as well, like even if it's just like a small, tiny one. But this will obviously be your main one.
You know, you bring that up, and I actually saw some really cool photos, and maybe I'll try to pop it on the screen maybe, but it's of like these little stands that act as like gift shops, like spread out through the zoo and stuff like that. It is definitely on the list of things I want to build, so you're right. Like, I think maybe having like smaller gift shops like spread out is kind of a smart way to go about it as well. But I am, we finally visited our first, we're at our first habitat, which is for the Binturong. So this is the first habitat. This is the first thing I ever built in Sakura Zoo before the entrance or anything like that. And it was for our Binturong. And I gotta say, this is probably like my favorite view right here, just looking at this building and seeing the Binturongs kind of move about.
It's really nice. The Binturongs are just underrated in their own right anyway. Do you see them do the tail hang animation a lot in here now?
I've seen them do it once, and then I sat here for like 2 hours waiting for them to do it again, and it didn't happen. So I was super thankful that I had the opportunity to see it, and then that's it. I've never seen it again. But I keep on getting told that like one of the recent updates, they're supposed to like hang from their tree, or hang from their tail rather, more often. I haven't seen it just yet, but my fingers are crossed that maybe we'll see it one day.
Yeah, like they change. So before they needed the thin beams to be like perfectly horizontal, but now I think they've given them like a little bit of leeway in terms of how much they can be inclined and they'll actually do the animation. So I don't know what that give is, but
it is it is actually, it's this beam that I saw them hang from. So every time I like come and like hang out in Sakura Zoo, I'll kind of like just pop over here and see if they're doing it. But this is the front, so this is like the guest only area. But we also, for those who don't know, I'm huge on making backstage areas, and this is the backstage area. It's kind of undone. We have some empty chalkboards for the Bintrongs, and you can actually see we have a few. We have more than 3.
Baby.
But we have Baby Toffee. That's Baby Toffee, as decided by the community. We also have Salt and Caramel.
And anyone that knows me will know that I don't do backstages. I will detest them with a passion. Not like why they exist, but I just hate doing them because, I stand by the fact that interiors are just not something I gain any pleasure out of or enjoy.
Yeah, there's as we get further into the zoo, you'll see my commitment to doing backstage areas start to decline, which is like a normal aspect for me in Planet Zoo. Is like I'll have this great idea, and then as I kind of like travel through the zoo, it's like I'm over this already.
Yeah, I tip my proverbial hat off to anyone that actually does backstages.
Speaking of backstages, we do have a little staff center, which has like our workshop, research, and restroom, as well as some power and water here. Which is, I never actually showed this. I just kind of built it one day. I think I was feeling kind of blue and it was a rainy day, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to build something. And so this is what it resulted in. We have like a little storage shed. I'm not happy about this. So I'll probably like swap it out eventually, but like eventually we'll kind of have like lawnmowers and stuff like that stored in here.
Oh, I thought your power was in there at first, because that strikes me as like where your power and water would be, inside that wooden. You see it quite a lot in the UK, where you'll find these like random green buildings in the middle of, or out on the side of the street, and there'll be utility sheds.
Yeah, we see a few of them actually where I live. There's like this super well hidden utility shed, and it looks like a park building, like just on the side of the road, and you would never know if it was like a utility shed, and with the exception of like the barbed wire that hangs out around it.
Yeah.
So going on to our second habitat, so we only have a few to visit today, but the second one, which weirdly enough was our second habitat, but our third episode for Sakura Zoo, because we had a little bit of a switcheroo. It's for the Chinese pangolin. We have 2. We have, I think we actually also have a baby somewhere, if I'm not mistaken, but it's Twig and Branch are the names for these Chinese pangolins. And it's kind of weird that I'm giving them all names, because this is very much a franchise zoo. So sadly, I can't turn off death. You can kind of see them, I think. Maybe you should even look at the the life extension mod. Yeah, I was going to be like, are you going to tell me there's a mod for this?
There is, yeah. My animals live 17.5 times longer because of it.
I'll definitely have to take that up. Thank you. I've learned something new today, and hopefully you guys have as well. I'll have to take a look at that, because it's a pain. I think like salt and caramel. I think I'm on salt number 2, because I just keep on like adopting and replacing them eventually.
Yeah, I've said, because I remember when the game first came out, you couldn't extend the life. It was just one setting, and a lot of the animals had such short lifespans that you couldn't really get that attachment to them, if that makes sense. And then they added it, so it went to 5, and I was like, it still doesn't really feel like very long for some animals. But like me and Simply Zoological were talking about the really short life animals, and it turns out that the Tasmanian devil and the Sussex chicken only live for like 6.5 years.
Oh God. I think I'm on, I definitely know I'm on year 47 currently in Sakura Zoo.
I do warn you, it does like make everything else longer as well, though. So like the gestation period and everything like that. So my elephants are taking about 50 years to give birth at the moment.
That would be a very painful experience. I'm not gonna lie. This is our pangolin habitat, and this is actually what I was kind of alluding to. You helped me create this particular glass wall. We were kind of just chilling in Discord, talking, and I was showing you some of this, and I was like, let's pop some glass here. and I'm actually kind of happy I did because it fit perfectly.
Yeah. Link in the description for the Discord.
Casual drop in the Discord. So that's right. Anybody's welcome to join. It's a fun Discord. You can come and talk all things Planet Zoo. We're also talking about maybe doing some like fun community games. Farming Simulator 2025 is on the table. So all people are welcome to join at any time.
Enough actually. Looping back to like the mod discussion for just like one more second. Actually, that habitat was the one that got me to install PG Plus, because obviously you had that like really small
the door.
Yeah, and I was like, there's no way they use that, and then you was like, yeah, and then you like shrunk it down even more and they were still using it, and I was like, I'm getting this mod, this is insane, like, this is a game changer.
I do remember that, like, we had a hole that was significantly too small. It was so small, and I was shocked that they were still making it through that hole. But it is a game changer in terms of just allowing you to build smaller habitats, and like just you don't have to worry about the hitboxes.
Yeah, that's the biggest turn off for realism for me in this game, like how big the hitboxes are on the animals. So you end up having these huge holes in the wall, and you think, oh, what's going to come out of there? Like, surely it's going to be like a rhino or something, and then that little pangolin wanders out, and you're just like, that is horrific.
Speaking of small habitats as well, this is our otter habitat. Which is a lot smaller than maybe it should be for the amount of otters that we have. You can kind of see, I think 4 of them are hanging out right now. But I love this sightline.
Yeah, I don't want to downplay the rest of the habitats that we might be seeing in this video, but this is like, I think this is my favorite one thus far in the whole place.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Like, it's, I love like the steps. So weirdly enough, and probably thanks to PZ Plus, the otters can go up these stairs through the 2 waterfalls and up to the upper section, which we'll visit shortly. But this is, I love how this habitat looks. One of my favorite habitats in Sakura Zoo so far.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Like, this is, so when I'm like harping on at people about terrain elevation, like this is really what I'm talking about when because you could have easily just made this a flat habitat, you know, like with the exception of the fact that you've obviously got water in front of you, but.
Did you see that? By chance, did you see that little otter just dive off of the top of the rocks right there?
No, I saw it coming down the hill. I didn't see it dive off. My eye was just
you were over here because this looks beautiful, and then like just in the corner of my
eye is just constantly glued to foliage in this game, unfortunately.
But so speaking of terrain elevation, though, you actually challenged me to build without a terrain elevation, and this was the result of it. Now I can actually see the otter kind of coming down.
Oh,
and going back up. But yeah, no,
it's such an underrated tool. It's such an underrated tool, terrain elevation. Like, I've been talking about like sightlines a lot, and I was actually quite shocked to realise that a lot of people don't actually realise what sightlines are, but at the same time. But yeah, I've noticed that terrain elevations they play such a huge part in sightlines because they help with what you can and can't see. And like here, it's just so nice being able to see them like come down. And obviously, like once you start padding the zoo out a bit more, like you might have stuff behind that wall that creeps over the wall, and you can see more in the background, and it's that sense of discovery that you want to see more.
It has caused me to rethink how I build in Planet Zoo now, because like if you look over here, it's just kind of like empty field, which will eventually get worked on. But like having that building like peek out, and then like the trees off in the distance, which we'll see more. There's something up there that I haven't really shown a whole lot of, and I'm kind of excited to show it off. But we're gonna peel away from our otters because we're gonna go take a look at our Pallas cat habitat before we can kind of continue our journey. But yeah, I gotta say, Blob, like sightlines, you and Sparrow have really challenged me to start thinking about sightlines. And I think this is an example of a habitat that doesn't really kind of work with terrain elevation, and it doesn't have that same pop. It's very flat. It's for our 2 Pallas cats. There's some climbing structures, but it's a very flat habitat. And I see what you mean by like when you add in elevation, like over there, it looks so much better.
Depends what you're going for though, because I think here it actually kind of works because you've got the stone on the walls, and it's almost like you're at the foot of a mountain, or like in a lower down area, if that makes sense. If you had, I reckon, plaster on the walls or something, it probably wouldn't have the same effect. but where you've got the rocks on the walls, I think it helps sort of argue your point for having a flatter terrain.
No, fair enough. It's speaking of like mountains, we're gonna see some really cool things as we kind of go along. This is like the start of playing around with a lot more capabilities, I think, in Planet Zoo and in Sakura Zoo. This is like our backstage area. We have all of our resource buildings back here, but I just wanted to kind of show this off because again, I like working on backstages sometimes because it is hit or miss for me. But this is our Palace Cat backstage, and like if we were to take a look in, so it's you're right. It's all layered with cladding, which took an awful long time to get this to work out. I feel like we're breaking rules, kind of coming in here.
Like you own the place.
We're the zookeeper today.
Difference.
But like the climbing structure does definitely help with giving some of that elevation. I'm just shocked that the zookeepers can actually kind of go under this, like under here, I think.
So mild concussion as they go through it.
You know what? What is work without some WSIB violations? We have our Adobe walls. So I built these on like the second episode, and I've used a lot of them. And then I kind of got off of it because I think for me, like it's always a challenge is to build something new and bigger and better every time. But I am gonna say, just because I gotta throw it there. Simply Zoological was the one who helped me out with this door, creating this like entrance to the backstage area. We even have like a custom sign saying no admittance.
Yeah, signage is something I need to start looking at doing again because I saw you had it at the entrance with like the Binturong signs along the edge of the plaza and stuff, and
yeah.
I'm just seeing like those little ones. I've got some already planned where it's stuff. It's like I'm working on something that's undisclosed.
You're leaving like these little hints, and it's gonna bother me until I figure out what you're building on.
Well, I need to get some signs done for like keep people to prep their QR codes and stuff like that, but I've already got the signs kind of ready made. But oh, look at them.
Yeah,
it's so cute.
So what I really like about this habitat, with the exception of this like little area right here, you don't see you don't really typically see the guests down in the bottom section, and the guests in the bottom section don't see you up here very often. So it is like two distinct viewing areas, viewing angles for this habitat.
I'm actually surprised how much I like the view. So if you like move to the left a bit and then look right down toward those like people that are at the other viewing area, I just like the composition of this. In fact, I think I took one of your screenshots from this habitat, if I remember rightly.
You did.
Yeah, it was out of this habitat towards that building in the background there. Yeah, I remember this now. Yeah, this screenshot that I took.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, I was struggling taking some screenshots and some like thumbnails for our latest episode, and Blob was kind enough to help out. Oh, hello. It's close.
Oh, scared it off.
Shouldn't have said hello. This is the last backstage that we're going to visit actually in the zoo, because all the other backstages are still currently in works. But this is actually we switched off of like that white plaster to like this more brutalist construction style. But I really like this door, how this door turned out, with the exception, I don't know why this is hanging out here. I have to fix that. But this is our backstage area, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for this. And excuse the janky water.
Oh,
they swim in it. That's the important thing. But it's like a little cleaning bath.
It was working at one point, wasn't it, though?
Yeah, so
I swear we fixed this.
We did. I fix it all the time. So I guess I found out what happened is every time the otters would go in this water, it would count as they escaped, so I'd get fined $1,500 by the inspectors every single time. Turned out because it was too glass. Like I had like a glass barrier here. And it was registering the glass barrier as a separate habitat. So every time they'd go in here, even though it was part of the same habitat, they would count as an escaped animal. It's very frustrating. So I removed it.
Maybe
now the water's all janky.
Maybe the workaround is to just like put some one-way glass in there or something.
Yeah, I might like place it on the ground.
There.
And then this is this is the support area that's going to service, because this is like this is like a higher elevated area in the zoo, so it's going to be kind of hard to get vehicles and stuff like that up here. So this is going to be the support area So like all
Oh,
the
hold on. Go back. Was that like a bench like tipped on its, like inverted on each other to make him stack easier?
I don't know.
As you went out the door there was like a bench, and then it looked like you had another bench that was like upside down
Oh, this maybe?
to make him stack. Oh,
Oh
look
yeah,
at that.
yeah, it was. They're
Wait, that's
storing
some-
some benches.
Yeah, you see this sort of thing all the time with like chairs and stuff outside restaurants if they're not using them. They'll like stack them, not on. Sometimes they'll like put them inside each other, but sometimes they'll put them on top of each other,
Yeah.
inverted.
I want to say it's inspired by the fact that I had to put all my outdoor like chairs away because of the winter in Canada. So I had to stack them all up the other day. You know what's funny though is I think you're the only person that's probably seen that backstage area.
Oh, I am honored.
So this is something I built really just to fill up the area because I was trying to take photos and I was like, oh god, the sight lines here suck. It's just like an empty plain. So I put together this like little garden.
This is my jam. This is what I live for in Plant Zoo. I actually tried making something like this a while ago, like absolutely ages ago, probably like 4 years ago now. But I never knew about the Zen pebble pieces, so it wasn't as thematic. You could tell it was supposed to be Japanese because of the maple, or the cherry blossom, I should say. But that was the only thing that really sort of gave it away, that it was from that area.
Yeah. It was very much meant to be like I wanted it to be a koi pond, and who knows, maybe I'll download some like some koi fish and just kind of like have them kind of hanging out inside the pool. But it definitely fills up the area better than like just like an empty plain or some rocks. Or I didn't want to put a habitat here. I'm trying to spread the zoo out a little bit more. I'm notorious for building like super compact like habitat after habitat, so I'm trying to spread it all out.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I always feel like people go into this game or like with the understanding or the thought process is that every square inch of their zoo has to have a purpose. But people will go and build playgrounds, but they obviously won't use the playgrounds, or you'll build like a lot of that backstage stuff. The keepers and stuff might walk through it, but it doesn't actually really quote unquote serve a purpose other than just for the path.
Yeah, it's very much exactly what it is. Like it's just like, I think for me it's a challenge to build something like that and to kind of have fun. How did we have 4 red pandas here? At some point, apparently, we've had 2 offspring.
This view, by the way, is amazing with like the guests and the signs at the background as well.
Yeah, I know you took one of the screenshots here, I think too, or somewhere around here. I think you took one.
It's very photogenic, this area.
My tried and true process, which is take some Bengal bamboo, flip it upside down, and just have the shoots sticking through.
Seamless. It looks very dangerous at this front bit, though. You kind of make it look like the bottom of some sort of like death trap.
Like a punji stick.
Yeah, something
no.
like that.
I think I was talking to a few people and they're like, it looks pretty bland, like you should put something here. I was like, I'm gonna put some more bamboo, and that's how that came across. Another benefit of working with free build is this is a path on top of a path, and this is how this is kind of filled in. Can't do that normally in the game, but weirdly enough, I got some hiccups here, so that's why you see like this cement blocks.
You seem to have actually been quite lucky with. I've noticed that when I do that, where I stack piles on top of piles, guests or staff members or guests will walk onto them, and then they will just get stuck. And I'm just like, oh, this is very irritating.
No, it
so
happens.
I start getting into the.
It happens right here, actually, because there's a path right here. It happens right here. I had it in front of our Hummer leopard habitat, and they kept on getting stuck, so I ended up removing it completely and going with just some plaster pieces, and then kind of calling it a day.
Yeah, I think concrete's what I've been using as well, just because I think I'd just rather, as much as it is nice to have it with free build, it's just a bit too much of a headache, because it means you have to be constantly watching that area.
Yeah, I think like it works up there because it's not as heavily trafficked, whereas like down here there's a lot of foot traffic here.
Yeah, so the odds of it happening are much greater.
Yeah.
Oh.
I love this. This habitat, this is like my second attempt at building this habitat. I think I placed down all the foliage and all the rocks, and I was like, oh god, this looks terrible. Deleted it all. And I think the only thing that kind of remained was this foliage pit and some of the rocks, and then I redid all of the climbing structures and all the foliage again. Something else
Very
that
nice.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, so, no, I was gonna say like the foraging pit is like such a nice texture on the ground because it just breaks up all the other textures that are going on with like the default dirt and grass and whatnot. So I've always had a bit of time for the foraging pit.
Honestly, I wish we could. I wish the terrain paint would look more like this, like the foliage pit or the foraging pit, because to your point, it adds so much more depth. I'm also shocked that we don't have like cedar chips and stuff like that you would place like over here to stop weeds from growing in and stuff like that. As our
I used the pathing for that.
That's actually a smart idea. I gotta
wood
steal
chip
that. Speaking of things, another thing that I've learned from you actually is the use of barriers in a more roundabout way. An example of that is this barrier right here. It acts as like a site block. Because this is like behind here would be like staff parking. It will eventually be staff parking. But also like mixing and matching the barriers as well. Normally, when I first started playing this like Planet Zoo, each of my habitats were like the same barrier all the way around. Or it was all custom barrier all the way around. But I'm getting more comfortable doing this, like with like adding in like partial barriers in some places just to kind of fill it in and then close it off and stuff like that. So this is
like you.
Oh, go ahead.
It depends on like what you're using the wall for. So like I think the corrugated iron works really well for like behind that bush there, but the concrete you'll obviously use for like more heavy duty things if it's like a retaining wall perhaps or something like that. Or the wooden one is also like a one that I use quite a bit as well, the wood log one.
You know, I used the wood log one at the beginning of the zoo. I think that's the only place I've used it. I should go back and look at that again. So this is the end of Sakura Zoo as most people know it. And then we're going to head on over to the mountains of Asia. And this is the start. So you can kind of see some work is still done. We're still in the construction phase. Lots of space. But I really like how this kind of turned out. And you saw this before. You saw this all work in progress a few times. And you had the chance to kind of go in and explore it a little bit. But we have speaking of retaining walls, we have our retaining wall with some additional gates to stop people from climbing.
So good.
And then
love the. I mean, you just saw it just then, but my biggest gripe with these vines is the lod on them is just awful. So you move about a foot away and then they just like vanish, and then you move a bit closer and they just. Yeah.
there was that pop. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I see it kind of sticks out a little bit on this side, so I'll have to go back and eventually fix that. I
mean, it's just hanging. It's just hanging. It doesn't have to necessarily attach to the rock, right?
No, very true. So this entire idea is this tunnel it's a way to transport you from one section of a zoo to a different biome. And I kind of picked this up. I was in Toronto Zoo a few weeks ago, and their lion habitat does this. You kind of go into this very, very man-made fake rock tunnel, and then inside the tunnel you have these doors that are hanging in. So this would eventually lead to maybe some power and stuff like that. But instead it just kicks us all the way up here. Can I get down easily? Nope. So eventually that's what'll happen is we'll have some power and stuff like that hidden behind those doors. And then as you kind of come out, you're now in the mountains of Asia. So it's much more mountainous, rocky area. You can kind of already see at the time of this video coming out, this habitat that you see off in the distance, and we're going to take a quick look, is not available. So you guys haven't seen this being built yet. But it's meant to be a very mountainous, rocky area instead, so we can kind of see the change in foliage types and even the barriers, adding into more stone and stuff like that. But then we have our Amur leopard habitat, and they're apparently in a box, and they're protesting.
Oh, a wild box! A wild box for this.
Overpopulation. How's that possible? There's only 2 of you.
They No, they're not.
No, they're protesting a happy. They're protesting a happy guy.
Yeah, I can't wait for this area to get built up more, because when you come through that tunnel and you see out, once you get like maybe some mountains and stuff in the background, then it'll take on like a whole new shape.
It'll really. I'm really looking forward to seeing it pop a little bit more. But I again, like playing with terrain on this one, so you can kind of see there's an area for them to go up, and then they can kind of wander around 2 raised areas, a lower hidden area. My favorite part, though, has to be this climbing structure.
Very nice. It is very good indeed. I think when you're doing stuff like terrain elevation, though, like I think you always have to keep the animal in mind when you're doing it as well, like what sort of animal it is. So like big cats in particular, like quite athletic creatures, so you want to treat the terrain elevation as enrichment as much as you're doing it for sightline reasons, you know?
That's actually very true. I guess it's something I always get tunnel vision when it comes to doing something, and then I feel like it's definitely something I have to kind of keep in mind, is that it's easy to forget about like something and then like try to build something else, and then you go back and you're like, oh snap. But like I think like this I really wanted them to play on this climbing structure more than they do. And they don't, sadly. Like, I can get them to go up there, but, like, I was really hoping I'd see them kind of, like, hang out and lay down on the structure and, like, just kind of, like, nap over there, kind of thing like that.
Maybe you could, if you put some of the bedding on there, I wonder whether that would encourage them to maybe sleep on there a bit more.
I think I actually did at one point. I might have done it on Sandbox Mode when I was testing it out. I can't believe we were able to actually get up there. I'm shocked that we can climb this rock, this beam. But I'm really happy that they actually have a fairly like generous area to explore, and I think a lot of that comes back to PZ Plus and being able to kind of go and travel around, and the hitbox is a lot smaller, so they're not bothered by as much terrain and stuff like that. But
it's a lot more reasonably sized than the one I made for Paws. That was way too big.
Yeah, but your Paws ones are always so gorgeous. Like you build something that's like your build. Somebody broke this. Your builds are fantastic when it comes to your habitat, your foliage work. I'm always like in awe of what you put together for Paws and for Sakura Zoo. Like when we toured it, like Sakura Zoo, like amazing.
Thank you. It's I will admit, this area that I'm doing right at the moment isn't quite as flattering. Oh, what is that?
It's a
statue.
It's not an Amur leopard, I can tell you that. It is a Siberian tiger.
How have you got that? Okay, so I'm actually a bit annoyed now, because I was under the impression that downloading PZ Plus unlocked all the reward statues, but I can't see that one.
It does.
I can't find it in my game. I was looking for it because I was trying to look for all the statues and I couldn't find them.
Yeah.
I don't have this many. I'm gonna have to, as soon as we end this recording, I'm booting up Planet Zoo to find out, because I've been robbed. I think I've been robbed.
Something's not going on right here. So yeah, a benefit of PZ Plus is you get access to all the reward statues. It's something I struggled with. I put together this little like monkey. You're gonna see a lot of stone monkeys everywhere eventually, some like shrines and stuff like that. But I'm actually really excited because I don't think you've really seen a whole lot of this blob, and I'm actually super excited to show this off. So I'm not gonna tell you for what animal. Maybe you can kind of guess it. It is a taiga tundra themed animal because it has to fit with the mountains of Asia. But this is our newest habitat.
See a waterfall.
You do see a waterfall. You see a little skittle.
Dude, I think what animal this could be. Oh, you've done like a really good. I like the hedge that you've got like in front of the barrier as well. Like, yeah. I get that it's hiding the electric fence, but
it works really well though. We were touring in Nausicaa's zoo, and this was the something I picked up from hers. I had a lot of fun.
It frames the bottom of your view quite nicely, I find.
I like seeing the wire through the hedge and into the habitat itself. So I actually have a photo of the habitat, and I definitely didn't do it justice, but the inspiration is actually very similar to this, even with like the double barrier and stuff like that.
What's going on with those two archways at the back? Are they? Is that like glass you've got in there, or?
No. So this is actually going to lead to the backstage area. So this is going to be where their shelter is.
Oh, this is one-way glass. I was like, why is it locked so? Well, it's not one-way glass.
No, it's
like,
just plaster right now.
I thought you put like one-way glass in there, or like it looked just really foggy, and I was like, what is going on with that?
No, this is it's gonna eventually turn into their. I have to figure out how I'm gonna kind of put it all together. This is gonna be their backstage area. This is gonna be where their food and water is gonna be, and then they'll have this will be sectioned off into like their kennels, and then we'll have like the backstage area for the keeper's hut and stuff like that. It is for, and you let me know if this works. It's for the Arctic fox.
Oh yes, I can see it now. Yeah.
So lots of places for them to hide.
You said kennels, and I was just like trying to think what animals would you keep in kennels, and I forgot about the poor Arctic fox.
It was the best word. It was the best word I could come up with. Like it's because it's gonna be. It has to be like kind of like a kennel style den for them to kind of stay secure. But this is it. This is the habitat that's currently in progress. So new episode coming soon for this particular build. It's almost done actually. I think I have to do the backstage.
You've done a very good job of showing some love to like the smaller critters of in Planet Zoo. When I think about what we've seen so far and whatnot.
Yeah, actually, now that you say that, the only big animal is the emerald leopard.
And even then, I think they're like on the smaller scale of medium cats, if that's how you want to put it. I think they're actually smaller than like African leopard and stuff in terms of their length and height.
I haven't built for a whole lot. I think I built for the cheetah once, and then the emerald leopard. In terms of and the cougar, I built for the cougar. I haven't really built for any big cats or anything like that. So I actually don't even know like from a relative size for comparison. So I would definitely trust your judgment if they're on the smaller side.
Yeah, it makes me interested to see what large animals you eventually go for, if there are going to be like
the goal
huge elephants and stuff.
The goal is to have as much as possible a world zoo. So we will have an Africa section. There will be definitely elephants and giraffes. Giraffes are my favorite. Love giraffes. So giraffes are definitely going to make an appearance, and then elephants for sure. Rhinos. I want to see some rhinos in here. It's going to be a large zoo. My largest zoo ever built. You can kind of see it's a sneak peek into the backstage area that's still in construction. I built this. I'm going to provide some context. I built this. I'm really happy how I built it. It's not my idea. It's Toves. Toves has this amazing blueprint for a backstage gate. And one thing that's helped me to really improve building in Planet Zoo has been to actually take a blueprint, rip it apart, figure out what goes into it, and then build it myself as much as possible. It's definitely not as highly as detailed, but it's challenged me to think differently in how I build things. Case in point, using the hinge, like the bracket here, to hold the wire on the wall.
I think that's the main purpose of it. Like, it's you do it to see how something's made, but you also learn alternate uses for a lot of pieces.
Mm-hmm. It's wild. Like these are actually the roof trim, the stone roof trim piece, and I didn't even know this piece existed.
Grief. The stone's probably a better texture actually, because I thought at first that they were like the bases of the outlet pieces, the wall.
Yeah, no, I actually really like how this piece looks, and then it's fully colorable, which I think is also super important.
It won't reflect the light as well because it's stone. Nice.
So it's definitely my that's what I have a lot of fun doing with workshop items is I'll try to like copy it myself. And like I'll always throw like the person who originally built it, because like mine's not going to go in the workshop. I'm not going to do that because there is a much better version of it. So I would never put something that I built based off of somebody else's blueprint on the workshop. But that's it's definitely what's helped me to improve playing Planet Zoo. I actually really like how this looks. So this is going to be the gate to the backstage area where parking and like storage will be. But that's
the
it.
gates. It's like the gates to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's manor or something.
Should get some like wrought iron gates. At a minimum, this area is gonna have 2 more animals. We're gonna go with the Japanese macaque and one other larger animal, like I think another like big cat. Although I think, and you let me know, the giant panda would probably fit really well in this area as well. So I might.
My one suggestion though is if you do a red panda, or like not a red panda, a giant panda, is like, because obviously in real life, when zoos get them from the Chinese government, like they pay astronomical amounts. So I feel like if you was to go for a giant panda, you'd want like this very grand habitat for them, because I feel like it'd be, obviously if this was a real zoo and you're investing all the money in pandas, you'd want them to have, I don't know, you'd want them to be like the stars of the area, as it were. So I'd be very excited to see what you do for that. If you did do some giant
it's a good call out. I remember when Toronto Zoo got some giant pandas from China, and it was like they rebuilt an entire section of the zoo specifically for the giant panda. It was all like themed after the panda and everything like that.
Yeah, I don't blame them. I don't know the exact figures, but I think there's something like £1 million a year or something, or $1 million, because I think Edinburgh Zoo had some, but I don't think they've got them anymore. I think they had to give them back because, like I say, they're on loan from the Chinese government, and then I think where all the zoos and stuff were closed during COVID, they'd like reduced the amount because they were still looking after them, but obviously the zoo wasn't making any income from obviously not being open and stuff. So I think they gave them like a cut rate, which is very kind of them. They only charged them like $500,000 instead, which still seems like a mad amount of money. But
it is a mad amount of money for sure. But the pandas they're like adorably dumb. And
They are the conservation animal, really, when you think about it. Because whenever I think of pandas, I instantly think of the WWF because it's obviously their logo.
It is. It's definitely like an animal I would love to have in a zoo. I've never built for a giant panda, so I'm gonna have to do a lot of research on it. But I was reading some comments and somebody was talking about they would like the giant panda would be perfect for like the mountains of Asia. The last thing I'm gonna kind of highlight as we leave is this. This is such a small detail, and nobody will really see this. It's not beneficial in any way, but it's an AC unit with a leak that's like stained the wall.
I'm trying to think if there are any pieces in the game that have like a natural drip to them, but I don't think there is.
I can't think of anything either. So I had a lot of fun putting this together. It's just like it's some like grunge, like rotated slightly just to get like the edge, and then it just kind of like it's like dripped and cracked the plaster as it's kind of like worn its way down, and then you can kind of see like the puddle of like dirty water on the ground. I thought it was such a cool small detail that, like, again, nobody's ever going to see it. So I always kind of like to point it out whenever I can.
Breaks up the wall nicely though, because obviously when you've got these like pristine white walls, I think you need these little things that break them up, whether it be a window or door or just a leaky AC unit.
Yeah, something to hold the attention away from it. And that is Sakura Zoo as it is in its current state, which I was talking with Sori the other day, and I've been building Sakura Zoo for over 2 months. So it's been over 2 months since I started the zoo, and I can't believe where I am right now in terms of like the skill level I had when I first started Sakura Zoo and where I am now. And again, I think a lot of that is thanks to you, Blob, for challenging me to do different things, for Sparrow for providing all these ideas, for Sori showing me how to do certain things as well. All together, you guys have come to help me to improve at Playing Planet Zoo, which is why I was really excited to have you come and join me on this tour, to show off all the work and just to say how much I'm appreciative of you helping me to improve. And I hope one day this zoo and my videos will help other people to improve as well, because they learn some different techniques and different ideas. So thank you. Thank you for joining me.
No, thank you for having me. I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it, really? I mean, that's why we do what we do. It's not... We just want people to learn something and take something away, whether it be like a habitat, or whether it be a leaky AC unit. You know, like you want someone to take something away from it. You know, and I mean, when you started this is what obviously spurred me on to start my Asia area a bit sooner than I originally planned, just because it's such a cool area of the world to build for.
It is. It's so unique. Like, I've never been. I don't travel a whole lot, sadly. I've thrown my life away working, and this is how I can kind of like travel vicariously. Is build things that I would love to see eventually. And one day I will. I really hope I get the chance to go to Ueno Zoo and to visit all those places, and staying for going to like London Zoo and whatnot as well. I would love to go there. So I have all these places I want to visit, and I hope that one day make it happen. But until then, you're just gonna see me build on Planet Zoo and enjoy my time here. But that's all I have for you guys today. As Blob mentioned earlier, we do have a Discord. Feel free to head on over. You can find a link in the description below. I wasn't lying when I said everybody's welcome. You can show your builds. It doesn't matter your skill level. You could be new to the game. You can be an old hand at the game. Everybody's welcome, because everybody can learn something from everybody else. And that is my belief. Everybody's welcome. Everybody can come and learn new things. And, I hope to see you come and join us. But otherwise, and as always, I just want to say again, thank you so much. And of course, ciao for now.
Bye.
Bye.